help you?
Dead.
She's dead?
Yes, please get my mom and dad. Oh, my God.
Accident after accident, unnecessary deaths, ruined lives. These people know the danger of being close to a handgun. They have been injured, some permanently disabled, and others have seen family members die in gun-related incidents. They have felt the pain. 17-year-old James led a typical teenage life, but today he lives with the consequences of being shot while driving in a friend's car.
I just wanted to breathe easier because it was, it went through my lung and I was really breathing hard, and it was terrible. The injuries are, of course, paralysis, bullet went through my lung, which I don't know what really caused that, and also went through my heart, and through 2 chambers. So they had to do heart surgery to repair the heart. I thought I'd never get shot, get stabbed, nothing. I thought it just can't happen to me until it did. It just hit me so fast.
A lot of anger. He was 17 years old. He was walking, just through stupidity of a kid. My son turned 18 in the hospital, not walking. The kid that shot him, he turned 16 in juvenile hall. And I figure in 5-6 years he'll forget about this. Jimmy's got the rest of his life. That's a long time.
16-year-old Tony was shot and is now paralyzed.
I didn't realize I was hit by a bullet until I fell on the ground. Then, after I fell on the ground, it felt like I just had my top part, no legs or nothing. I had got in ICU and everything, came through. Doctor said you might not walk again. I said, Mom, stop playing, Mom. I'm gonna walk.
As hard as you saw them struggle today, this is just a tip of the iceberg of what life will be outside. Here at the rehab center, everything and everyone is accommodated to these folks and their disability. But on the outside, they deal with narrow doorways, with a million steps to their schools and churches and the hangouts that they used to have before. Many of them can't participate in sport the way they did before. Many of their friends alienate them because, first of all, they're different now, and the young people find out who their real friends are.
Hello, I'm Cambrell Marshall. Each night on the news, we hear about the day's events. Some of the most difficult and devastating stories to report are those that deal with the tragic shootings, permanent injuries, and deaths of children, young adults, and family members who are accidentally shot.
Down here in Little Havana, it's like, tradition to shoot off your guns on New Year's Eve. And my father has taught me how to use guns, and I've been target shooting and everything. I thought something like this would never happen, but, when we were using the guns on the 31st, I was shooting up, and, nobody knows what happened, but I think the gun got jammed or something. And when I put it down, I was walking into my home, and I took a look at the gun, and all of a sudden it fires off. And my dad was walking out of the house. And, since he was the person in front of me, it hit him. And there was a flight of stairs there, and, by the impact of the gun, he went off balance, and he fell down the stairs. And, it was real scary, and then I called 911, and I was real nervous, didn't know what to do.
I was shot right here in my throat. See the hole here? So the bullet destroyed the little bone in here. I don't know how do you call this bone here. So I destroyed that bone, destroyed my larynx, my trachea, my esophagus, my spinal cord too. So I had a hollow in my head. I have all my head full of holes in my forehead and my back, everywhere.
It took a month for me to go because nobody wanted me to see him. They say he was in real bad conditions. He was on a respirator and everything. And finally when I went, it was on the day of his birthday. It was his 39th birthday on the hospital. And I was real scared, I was scared. And I didn't know how to think. I didn't know if he would. I didn't know how he was going to react. But then, I knew he was my father. And you know, me and my father love each other a lot, and, you know, nothing. I knew inside that it wouldn't really, you know, bring anything between us, but still I was kind of nervous.
What can be done to help prevent tragic accidents and deaths from happening again? One way to help stop such incidents is by being aware, knowing that messing around and carrying a gun is dangerous. Some of you may have known people who think it's cool to carry a gun or even threaten someone with a gun. Well, it's not cool to be paralyzed by a gunshot wound, maimed by a gunshot wound, or dead, all because someone thought they were being cool.
When you enter this building as my patient, so to speak, your identity frequently becomes somewhat lost, if you will, as a person. You have a number that's assigned to you, and that number follows you. And there are so many reasons why we have to do that. But basically, then you become a subject of an examination, and the correlations and everything else that has to be done. And then, of course, along with the police and along with the state attorney, is assigned a manner of death. And then the second consequence comes as to why did this person die? Who is responsible for it? And if you're responsible for it, then you may have some very tough questions to ask, and you may have some tough time to serve. Death is quite final. Lots of people have been shot and killed with empty guns.
A lot of kids get killed within the family at home because their parents have guns and they leave the gun loaded, or they leave the bullets, and the kids watch on TV and he sees how glamorous it looks when the star points the gun and shoots, or he said, go ahead and make my day, and then he shoots the guy and the guy falls down. So they remember that they seen their father have a gun, so they go ahead and grab the gun, load it up, point at their brother, but they really don't know what they're doing. And it's when they point it and they shoot and they see the back of their brother's head explodes.
Over the weekend, my brother came and told me that, hey, you know George died? I said, how could it be? I just was talking to him.
It knocked his shoulder bone off. Shot him with a 45.
And how is he now?
Oh, he's dead.
I feel that some of these kids don't realize the effect that guns have, you know. And by them seeing the guns, like I said before, that it's a nice gun, you know, it's big, it's powerful, you know, that's what they might say to themselves or to their friends, you know.
Guns and students do not mix.
I think movies have a big effect on guns too, because a lot of people see movies and they say, well, look at that gun, he has a big gun, you know. You know, that has a big gun, I like that gun right there. So when they see it, or if it's easy to get in contact with, they'll try to get it, you know. And the way that they see it happen on the movie, they try to do it in real life, you know.
A lot of people who buy guns for the first time, they really do not know what impact it makes, you know, what happens when someone gets shot, or the true impact of the power of the gun they have in their hand. They do it as a showpiece. So they stand there and they say, well, I got a gun and no one can hurt me. But once you really take that first step and you pull it out and you squeeze the trigger and you shoot someone, it goes through your mind and you think, this was not really, you know, it wasn't really worth it to kill someone just as, you know, to show that I have power.
What should we do? What could we do to stop this?
We have to show the kids that we can break that cycle and they can be somebody, because every life is worth a lot. There's no money of value you can slap on a life. And every time you hear somebody dies, that's just like a piece of this country. It dies too, right along with them.
I tell them to think first before they do anything else, and never use a gun on anybody for any reason, because it's not worth it.
Show the kids that if you do keep your life clean, that you can be somebody, and it doesn't take a silver gun or a piece of rock to do that. See, the kind of high that you get from being a person is a high that lasts all your life.
Go talk to someone that could help you, your parents, a teacher, a friend. If you can, if the police officers are willing to help you, right, you could go talk to them. Not just go out offhand and just grab a gun. Think before you act.
You have to consider that the human body is a very fragile envelope of skin, 3 layers that only probably equates to micro tissue. It's very, very thin. And it's an envelope that holds all the organs intact and protects us from routine kinds of normal things. An intrusion as violent as this gas intrusion can do such damage to internal organs that they're irreparable.
Judy Soto and her family know pain that cannot be repaired. Their 10-year-old son, Omar, died as a result of a gunshot wound. While in a neighbor's home, a group of children watched as Omar was accidentally shot and killed when a neighborhood boy took down a loaded gun from his parents' closet shelf.
He chose a .357 Magnum handgun and brought it down. And as I understand, Omar was getting scared already, and he started to move and leave. And there was a gate, a fence, a wooden fence, and he started to leave because he was scared. But he started going back first and facing the child with the handgun in his hand. And he tried to uncock it, and the bullet went out, and it hit him in his forehead and practically killed him instantly. This is all of us when his day of his first communion, with all of us. And sometimes I look at the picture, and I know that he's missing. So, it kind of really makes us feel completely lost without him.
I feel angry because I start thinking, who is the next one? I don't want to see or to hear, in the news, another kid died by a gun accident. When I hear that, I remember what happened to me last year, and I don't want nobody. Okay, I don't want to see nobody in the same status because, like you said before, really, it's not easy. It's not easy.
I miss playing with him, and when there's holidays, I always think he's there.
Well, I would like him to know that I miss him very much. I loved him, and I wish he was back.
If you're in the house and you know that there's a gun in the house, you have to, and like your sister, your nephew, whatever, is somewhere near the gun, you just have to put it someplace where it's safe that the child won't reach it.
I have an older sister and everything, and she would die. I wouldn't like it.
It's sad because, you think it could be your brother, and, you wouldn't want that to happen to your brother. And especially, he's so young, he has a lot. He's hardly lived, so he has a lot of things to see in life. And, it's sad.
I think what's important is staying alive and keeping those you care about alive with you. The more you have with you, the better you'll feel, the better they'll feel.
There are consequences for all of our actions. You think tragedy will never happen to you or your family and friends. But as you can see, unfortunately, it does. It happens to people we know, people we love. Be aware of the dangers of handguns. The consequences speak for themselves.
You have to be in pain all day, like I am, day and night. Sometimes I can't sleep. I had to tell my wife, please rub my hand, my legs, because it's very painful. It bothered a lot. It's very bad. I don't have words to explain, how bad it hurt.
The bullet went straight through, and it shattered 2 of my blood vessels, and the other one, it blood clotted. I had no other choice but to amputate my leg. Well, when I came out of the surgery, at first I just thought it wasn't real. And then when I tried to wiggle my toes, I knew it was gone, and I just cried. I just cried loud. I hollered, I yelled. And at that time, I wish I was dead, really, instead of this happening to me, because I was so used to my leg being there. And I knew that it would be a totally different change for me.
At first, it was like, the only thing in my mind was, this is not true, It seemed like a dream, because it all happened so fast that I didn't know what was going on. Then when I realized it, I felt really bad, I didn't know how to act, I didn't know how to feel, because it's real tough.
When I hear ambulance, I have flashbacks of me, because all I can remember was me being on a stretcher and a bunch of lights just flashing, a gang of police officers, everything around me. When I hear an ambulance, all I can think is that's me in that back of that ambulance. They rushing to the hospital.
Oh, I love to play football. I just love that. Almost any kind of sport, really, but mostly it was football.
Why him? He was completely, starting to live his life. He was starting to go to middle school. It's just a lot of questions that, I feel angry. I feel very angry a lot of times. My children feel angry. My husband feel angry. We feel angry sometimes when we come to the cemetery because of the senselessness. It's something that has caused us, of course, great pain as a family, and we're just trying to make it after this. It's not easy. Believe me, it's not easy.